Okay, it's tea time, and I'll be posting this in a day or so. Today, I just want to ask the basic question. Our writing content team comes up with some of these questions, so I jump on the bandwagon every once in a while. What place does prayer have in sports for both spectators and athletes? Now, I'm going to give you something different than what's written, so I just want to give you a little bit of a variation here. So I'm going to flip this around and hopefully you can see everything. To my right is a pair of work boots or hunting boots. They kind of have that hunting boot flair to them, that kind of camouflage that's for sportsmen that are outside. These are kind of like outdoor shoes. They're trail shoes, they're Sauconys, and they got good high arches, and they'll probably last, I don't know, maybe a couple 100 miles. They've already lasted 100 miles. And they're underneath, you can see they can easily be used for trail, or they could be used for also for, like I use them for trail jogging, but they could probably be used as a good pair of golf cleats. And by the way, I have been driving a little bit with some wiffle balls here recently out in one of the fields, just kind of getting in a groove again. These are some golf cleats. You can see how they're comfortable. Classic basketball shoes. Heavy, sturdy underneath, wider bottoms on the base of them, wider soles for sturdiness. And Vans. And Vans, for those of you who don't know, the X Games, or remember the games out west, skateboarding and everything, these were considered like the #1 top-notch skateboarding shoes for quite a while. And see how it has a little bit of a messed up toe there. That was kind of one of the Achilles heels, but it was on the toes of these shoes. But we used to take duct tape and split it in half, and we'd wrap around up here at the base of the toe area with the Achilles heel, and it would just tighten that right back up. And so we'd be able to use those for quite a while longer. If you look underneath, that grip grips things. If you ever step in something outside that you probably don't want to step in, you're going to have a real time getting that out of the bottom of the shoes, because they can be a little bit muddy. So the Vans are really good for sports like that, maybe even for freestyle bicycling. Running shoes right now, Pumas, and they're actually brand new. They're barely broke in, and they're excellent for running. They got that kind of that heel to toe action where the toes kind of come up a little bit in the front, and they kind of almost look like socks these days, but it's the minimalist design that for running shoes that's always been helpful. I've never had a pair of Asics before. I've had family who's had Asics, but I've never had a pair, and they swear by them pretty much. And they're good for cross training. You can see the difference in the design. It's almost like the other trail shoes, the Sauconys. I could probably wear them on the golf course, but I really don't want grass stains on that nice natural look. So these are good for running on trails, or good for running on pavement, and they just feel completely like I'm in flight. One of the best pairs around right now for hiking that I have, they're Eddie Bauer's, and they're very sturdy. I mean, they basically will stand you straight up and keep you going all day long. 6-7 mile hike, whatever, maybe 8 miles. And we've tried these out over time. They're really good for yard work, but they're more fitted for, I would say, for the good long hike. And there's some good long hikes around here in the Appalachians, or actually the foothills of the Appalachians. These are Durangos, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Durangos. I got a couple other pairs of boots. These are, I got a pair of black dress boots. I don't know, I can't remember if they're Tony Lamas or what, but These are low heel, and you don't ever step on the arch of the heel, the arch of the sole right here when you're going up steps, because that's one of the greatest ways to weaken a pair of boots. So I don't do that, but you can step on the fore, or you can step on the aft. Nautical terms, you can step on the heel going up the stairs. These are brown, and they were nubuck leather, and they weren't suede, but they were nubuck leather. It was a different kind of shoe that had come out at the time, and it was completely new on the scene. It really wasn't associated with anything at all. But I've wore these over the years. These would probably I have cousins who have been in the National Rodeo in South Dakota, and these would probably make good roper shoes if I wanted to wear them for something like that, cowboy shoes. Of course, the roper shoes they wear, I have no idea where to find those. They probably made them themselves for all I know. But these are really good boots, and I've wore these around the house when I had acreage of my own to do all kinds of yard work, and they were quite good for that, especially on level surfaces. They're a little slick still. If I'm surrounded by all these sports people here, let's just say, and they're all asking me sports questions, and what's prayer got to do with sports and things of that nature, I think one of the places I would start would be with basketball, because I did play a lot of basketball all the way through 4th grade, all the way through college, basically. What could you tell us about prayer in basketball? Well, let me just say this. As somebody who's kind of ran with sports psychologists here a little bit, I would just ask the question, well, what do you think? What do you think if a person comes into my office and is talking to my team or whatever, my clinicians, and the person has all the symptoms that look like depression? So we're going to diagnose this person with some sort of hypodepression or something that's just continual. Or can we step back a little bit and look at sports psychology and look at the person's performance? In sports, whether you like it or not, it is performance oriented, especially the farther you go. It's not all about participation trophies. Sorry. But the farther you go, it is about performance. And what if there's somebody, perhaps even like me, who is pretty deadly from 10 to 12 feet, all angles, including 45s, perfect, dropping down from high off the backboard, and I could call my shots, if you want to say it that way, 45-degree angle shots, free throws. I could probably shoot 14 or 15 in a row without missing one. And so I was running about a 75 to 80% free throw percentage, especially in my last few years. And then you have, I played kind of an off guard, so I was sometimes the one driving the ball and calling the shots. Sometimes I played power forward when I was in, or they called it the trash man, the person who could rebound and pick up all the trash, so to speak, and put it back in the hoop. And also for a while there, I was kind of being platooned as a center for the team, and was doing an okay job kind of as a backup center for the basketball team as well, because I guess I just knew how to throw my weight around. So there's a lot more to do with basketball than just making baskets, and there's a lot more to do with it than just scrambling on the floor, going after the ball, and getting rug burns on your knees, or something like that. So I was able to dunk, even, believe it or not. My senior year, I had been working on dunking, and in between my junior and my senior year, I've been working quite a bit, special exercises for my calf muscles and everything, beyond just jogging, which is what I normally do now. So I'm just saying all that to say this: what if a player comes in a specific game of his, a specific aspect of his game is off, and you discover this because you're a sports psychologist, and you realize, okay, this person is hitting 10 to 12 feet out, and this is his power area. If you can get him inside this area, which is roughly the free throw extended all the way around the circumference, if you can get a person there, shooting from the baseline, shooting from the L's, shooting from wherever, the 45s, shooting from the free throw straight on, wherever that person is, 10 to 12 feet, they're going to be magnificent. But all of a sudden, they realize that they're not hitting. They get into a slump, like a batter slump. And they are only hitting like if they get that one rare shot right in the middle of the paint and 5 feet out or 6 feet out or something like that, or just a layup here and there and on a breakaway, cherry picking or something like that. So they're completely kind of out of their element and out of their game. Well, is it depression or is it just performance? What if the person's a Christian? What if they got other issues going on in their lives and they're distracted on the court? How do you help and assist the person? And what comes first in this particular case, the athletic performance or the other areas of life? Is an athletic performance a result of other areas of life that are distracting the player, or is it vice versa? Or is it both and? Well, what's more important to the Christian athlete? Well, most of the time when you're in college or you're high school or you're playing up that high, I would have to go with the sports psychology side of it. And I'd have to try to work with what kind of prayers, what kind of ways can you get together before a game, maybe with a friend like I used to do, and pray and kind of just like take time to talk about the word. Maybe there's something brief you can do, like in, not in the locker room, but off to the side, maybe a side room or something, and meet with somebody that's another Christian and take a moment to kind of detox and pray. One of my coaches, in fact, used to have a specific desk in the high school. He never told us which one, but he would just go and he would kind of like, it was a big enough desk that he would kind of hide under that desk, like the Seinfeld episode where Costanza kind of builds underneath his desk a whole place where he can take naps during the day, and he just basically starts sleeping all day. But it wasn't quite that bad. But he would go before game and after game, and that desk was his like altar that he had built, and he would pray and spend time there. I had a friend who especially liked in basketball my prayers. I have no idea why. And so he would, maybe it was my Pentecostal charismatic background. It could have been that. It could have been my personality, something, I'm not sure. But him and I and maybe another one, the three of us would go pray and we would spend time together. We would also, before practices, we would have devotions. And someone would actually just pick up a Bible and start reading basically and share a few thoughts and pray with the team, just kind of all of us huddled up, and then we'd start practice. And that was, that usually took at the most 5 to 10 minutes, but it was well worth it if you have a 2 or 3 hour practice where you're just running your guts out, to have a little bit of perspective on athleticism, on strengthening, on the importance of the body, on the importance of teamwork. And so in this way, I truly believe that I learned as a person going from school all the way through, from 7th grade all the way through my 2 master's degrees in Christian schools that had athletic programs, a lot of them. I truly believe that I learned just as much about spiritual disciplines from teamwork and from athleticism and prayers and things that we're taught as a team together to participate in the Christian life together, as I did from a lot of books I've read on spiritual disciplines. And I am no slough at reading books on spiritual disciplines and spiritual formation. And I know you may think, well, nothing from spiritual formation. We've heard enough from spiritual formation. Well, have you put it into practice with a team? Or are you just doing spiritual formation on your own? That's kind of where the rubber meets the road in my book when it comes to prayers and sports psychology, because I've had a different experience than a lot of people, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful almost every day for the upbringing I've had and the way that I was able to mix it up with Christians and like-minded people in the sports arena. So I hope you get a little bit out of the reading. I know it's a little sarcastic at times and fun, but I guess I can pop off every once in a while. Have a great day.